Welcome to The Dealership Leader, the podcast where real car people talk real dealership life. I'm your host, Joshua Clinton. I sit down with top performers, managers, and friends from around the industry to share unfiltered stories, hard-won lessons, and practical insights you can use to lead from the front. Let's dive in. So Matt Bellak on the Dealership Leader podcast, and the opening here reminds me of like that scene from Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
What do you mean?
When Bill Hader and his wife have the fake background.
Yeah, should I take the fake background off?
Can you at least change it up for me so I can get a little, you're really professional right now. I know that Austin's a very like trendy city, but
it does say while recording, I can't change that. I guess just welcome to my swanky living room. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't even know what I clicked. I was just kind of playing with the backgrounds, and now we got some kind of a modern home, I guess. Don't you like my decor?
Dude, you look great.
Okay.
You look great. Look, did you cut your hair recently?
I live in Texas, man. Too hot for the long hair.
Yeah, I had a long beard going for a while there. I just trimmed that down.
Yeah, Grizzly Adams did have a beard. But yeah, I mean, not everyone can have a private little villa like I have to record in.
Yeah, man, that swanky modern Texas estate you have. Are you neighbors with some of the famous people? You know, like are you next to
Joe Rogan's next door. Elon's up the road, about a 5-minute drive.
I mean, it looks like you with that background, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot, dude. Like Ron White lives here. Matt McConaughey lives here.
So, speaking of like swanky estates, if you had stayed in the car business, you'd probably like have one of those, right? Like,
I'd have more money than I have doing comedy. Yeah, for sure. I might have been better at selling cars, telling jokes.
So if you and Shane Gillis get another like one-on-one, instead of talking football, you should just start talking car shop, right? Starting car business, and
yeah,
you can give him a few pointers on selling cars. He can give you a few pointers on comedy.
I think he was like a service guy. I think he was a salesman for like a little bit, and they moved him.
So they did. He started in BDC, I think, and slash sales, and then they basically said, "You're really, really terrible at this."
Yeah.
But people like you, so we'll put you over in service. And he was like, okay. But funny that
question.
Go ahead.
How many people come in to get their car serviced and then leave with a brand new one? You turning over a lot of those?
Not as many as I'd like.
Right. Okay.
But that is, it's funny that you asked that question, and perfect setting because you're on an industry podcast. So I think service to sales conversion is probably one of like the hardest things for any dealer to really like master and perfect.
Yep. And can I tell you why? I think for a couple of reasons. A, when you're shopping for a car, you are kind of expecting the hard close, the salesman, but like if you're going in to get an oil change, now some guy's like, let's get you out of this thing, get you a brand new lease. You're almost annoyed a little more. You're like, hey, dude, I'm just here to get an oil change. You know what I'm saying?
For a second, I heard you say, "Oh," like you're a Texan.
Change.
I'm just here to get oil change. You are not a Texan. Let's make that clear.
We change our own oil out here. No. Yeah. But if you're like, hey, I'm just here to do it. But do you think that's what it is? Like people come in with more of a guard?
Yes. So for that reason, back when we sold cars, and a little context for everybody else, Matt and I used to sell cars. When I first got in the business, after like my first year, I was really successful. Matt was probably the best salesperson I knew personally, probably even better than me naturally. And so I said, Matt, you got to come sell cars, dude. I'm 20 years old. I just made $100,000. He goes, what? And stopped knocking on doors selling Obamacare and came and started selling cars. So anyway, when we were selling cars, the way that it worked really well for me, service to sales, and it's the same tried and true that I would do today if I was selling cars again. I'll preface by saying it takes somebody like super self-sufficient, really knowledgeable, I would be completely armed with like the data and the answers. So I didn't like waste people's time. I wouldn't just like go into the service department and shake hands and kiss babies. Like I would go in knowing that I was going to talk to Katrina Johnson, and Katrina Johnson has a car that we want, and this is MMR, and this is what the payoff is, and this is what I can get her into a like unit for right now if she leaves here with a car. Like I would go in with a pencil and I'd be like, here you go. What do you think? And because then it's not like It's not like, oh, hey, are you interested? And they're like, oh, no, thanks. And you're like, okay, great. It's like, hey, if you're interested in maybe upgrading your car, 6 months before your lease is up, take a look at this. This is what I can do for you right now. 90% sure I can do it.
Yeah, I think it would have what it would have you'd have to would you say taking someone out of a current car, they're coming in to get a service and putting them in a new car, you'd have to that payment can't go up much.
No,
You got you know what I'm saying?
yeah, and
So
you kind of
what I
nailed
would
it.
do is you maybe switch them into what they're not aware of, but maybe a lesser car.
So there's
In
there's a
this
few there's a few things you can do. You can go lesser car, you can go
yeah.
different car because maybe their needs changed.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like if someone comes in with a Sorrento,
So that's also, by the way, that's another reason why you can upgrade them as well and bump them on the payment
sure,
is,
yeah,
again, maybe you say Sorrento because we sold Kias together. So maybe if we're at a Kia store and they're driving a Sorrento and their needs change because the family got bigger, you can bump them up to a Telluride, and then you can easily justify the payment increase.
correct.
So there's all kinds of different angles. You can go different term. Maybe they had a 36-month lease last time. You can go 48 this time, and they won't catch up on it. Maybe the mileage can go down a little bit because they didn't drive as much as they thought. So there's a lot of different ways you can play with it. But to me, the key was always going in like with a deal, like with an offer, and being like, I can do this now. Or even if it didn't include like a pencil on the new car, it was at least like an offer on their car, where it was, hey, I know I can get you out of your car a year early. The only question now is, what do you want?
There's another way too. You show them some inflated fancy number for what you're going to give them for their car. Oh my god, I'll give you this much for your car. So, I need this car. I need it. And
I have to have it.
right. And then so you overpay them for their car and you hit them over the head with the other way. But yeah,
Matt,
there's
Matt, Matt, Matt. Just so you know, these days we frown upon
we don't do
phrases
that.
like hit him over the head.
We don't hit them over the head anymore.
No. Not publicly, not on
I'm like,
like national podcast.
is this TMI? Is this TMI? We never would.
It's not
We would
TMI.
never.
No,
We would never hit
you
anyone over the head.
you can talk. Listen, you can talk about hitting people over the head as much as you want because you haven't sold a car in like 13 years.
I'm not banging anymore. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
hung up the
can't do that.
cleats.
I have to be a little
Well,
more PC.
you know what's crazy? And I will say, in today's day and age, I'm sure the buyers are a lot more educated, with all these things on the internet and stuff. Yeah, and I know you. I've known you for a long time. You do truly get people good deals and stuff. But when we were first coming up, internet was not the internet itself, but the internet with the car buying purchase experience was just kind of poking its head up. That we were in the early phases of that, so people were still a little less educated, and I think there still was a little old, like our managers. It wouldn't even be me. I was just a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed kid. I didn't know what I was. And I'd go in to get pencils from some of these guys, and we'd kill these people. It was horrible,
Well, it was a different time.
dude. It was, but also some of our mentors were, especially one guy. I mean, he still thought it was the '80s. He's like, "We're gonna go
Yeah.
get these guys."
Oh, he still does. He
Of
still
course,
does.
yeah.
He still works. He's still
I hope the
with
best. He's,
Gunther in North Florida. So, but shout out to Gunther Motor Company.
Gunther was great, man. Also, I
Great
mean,
company.
it was a great company, family owned. I always did feel like, I mean, as much
Appreciated.
as well, I felt like it was like they give you a fair shake. Like if you went there and busted your ass, what I'm saying, like they would recognize it and they would, like
Yeah,
you, for example, like you were just a
me,
kid, man. Look at all
my
those people
brother.
that, yeah, look at all the people that had seniority, so to say, over you and all that stuff. You were just truly better and a harder worker, and they immediately recognized that, bumped you up. Which I thought was cool. Now, do you like? Okay, so now that you're the head honcho, are you constantly looking to promote guys? Who's the next guy
Yeah,
can move from the floor to the desk kind of thing?
yeah. So I've promoted a few people since I've been at my new store here. So I've been in Cape Coral for almost a year, and slightly after I got here, I had the opportunity to move someone into finance. So promoted a salesman to finance. The next opportunity that came up, we went to the outside. The next opportunity that came up, we promoted from within again. And so right now we're at like a 50-50 ratio because I think it always depends on what the role is, if you have the right person for it. It depends on where the store is at, if you need experience or if you can afford to grow somebody at that time.
Well, is it ever like a little bit of like, okay, I, this guy, he's a great sales guy. We want to bump him up, but I don't want to lose the production. You know?
I'd never think that.
No,
I've never
that's
once,
good. I'm glad
yeah,
that you don't. I'm glad it's
never
fair.
once have I ever feared losing sales because I promoted a salesperson. You know, I'll tell you something, and you remember this from our days, from our mentors. Everyone's replaceable, brother. Everyone, right? So, the doors are going to open, the cars are going to sell. Like, it doesn't matter who gets promoted, in my opinion. You're not going to lose business if you promote your best guy. If anything, you're going to have that culture start to permeate throughout the rest of the floor and, throughout the rest of the business because, that leader who everybody already respects and already sees that way, now they're just going to be able to touch more customers and influence more employees. In my opinion, it's nothing but good. It's never bad. And anybody who thinks of it that way is just so fucking selfish. But it actually really gets under my skin when I see people in the business that think that way. And I'm like, it's so ass backwards.
Well, I felt like, and not for long, but I felt like it happened to you slightly when you were trying to make a second jump, and they're like, "Well, this guy's really holding the internet department down, and if we move him to the desk, like there wasn't a guy to take your place really." And I felt like it wasn't for a long time, but I felt like maybe you could have gotten, it might have held you back like a year or so. I think.
You know what? I I see what you're saying, but remember, even when I got promoted, I was 23. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, think of that trajectory. Like, if it held me back a year, I would have gotten promoted at 22.
Right.
In the grand scheme of things, like, what's the difference? Yeah, you know.
Sure. Yeah, that's
And
true.
honestly, it didn't hurt to get an extra year of experience. So, I'm just glad that I stuck it out and I continued to grind through it. That the carrot getting dangled in front of you is never fun, but it is motivating, you know. So and eventually it worked out. So I just you gotta just keep doing what you're doing and hope that everything's gonna work out. Like the guy I just promoted to sales manager, we promoted him a week or two ago, and it was a good promotion, by the way. Like the guy that left was one of my strongest sales managers. He was probably like in line to be the successor for GSM in the store whenever my current GSM moves on to a bigger role somewhere in our company. And, he got offered a GSM spot elsewhere, prior to being able to earn it here. Kudos to him. Worked out well. But the guy that we promoted in his place was selling cars for 5.5 years and was doing it at the highest level. He was just like me. I mean, it's the epitome of the perfect internal promotion, in my opinion, where you have the top performer, but also number one in CSI. Also, just does everything the right way, doesn't skip any steps. He follows every process and just the ultimate, profession that you want to promote. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I love seeing is somebody like that get the opportunity.
CSI, Customer Satisfaction Index. What was that? I never
That's
knew what that stood
right.
for. Okay,
Look at you.
I forgot. Yeah. Oh, those CSIs. I actually had a fine CSI, but I remember like I don't know. There was the CS again when I was when I first got started. We was like it wasn't brand new, but the CSI thing wasn't like this like age old thing. It was kind of like first rolling around. So like there was some old school cats if you remember who were like they were like what is this like customer satisfaction? They don't give a shit. Like
Well, I don't know if you remember when we sold cars, so to take everybody back, this is 2010,
was it 10?
2011.
No, was it?
And yeah, I
Yeah,
started at Gunther in 2010. The CSI at that time was a phone call.
really.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember. So it
Yeah,
was a
I
phone call.
do remember, and God, I mean, whatever. I'm not in the biz anymore, so I could just tell. I would tell people to ignore the call. I'd be like, "Don't answer that thing, dude." Well, because here's the thing, like, and again, I mean, this is a long time ago, but it's not that they wouldn't have liked me, but I didn't want them looking through their deal and seeing something that maybe was not what they thought it was, and then flaming me. So, like, honestly, there was some deals where I'd be like, at the end, I'd be like, "No, they're going to call you. Don't even answer that. You don't even you don't even want to talk about that. Just ignore it." I bet it's a long process. You don't want to get on the phone with those guys. They're gonna talk your head off.
Well,
But
listen,
yeah,
I got a question for you. So
talk to me.
interesting question. I feel like, when you sold cars, you sold, I would say at like a semi-elite level, right? That's my
There were
opinion.
guys that were better. I was good.
There were guys that did more volume, but you were very comfortably a 15 to 20 car guy and you made all the
Can
moves.
I tell you? I didn't even try half as hard as a lot of these guys. That's what it. Like I was still kind of a dumb kid. Like if I ever got
You and me
back in the
both.
biz, yeah, I know. But if I got back in the biz now, as like an adult, got like a wife, a mortgage, like hungry, dude. Like, yeah,
You'd be enamored.
it's yeah, but here's the thing. I think like the easiest thing, and if any young salesmen are watching this, like the easiest way is like first and foremost. I mean, they call it work ethic, or whatever. But like, yeah, it is a numbers game. The more you dial, the more you email, the more you up, it's going to result in more cars. That's just the simplest thing. But also, like, just like what I learned was just trusting the process. Like, I knew that there were good. I had good guys at my desk. I had good management. I had a good. I did believe in the product. At the time, I really believed in the product. And we were a high volume dealer, and I did believe that we were going to get good deals. If you just believe in all that, and it's not like a drink the Kool Aid thing. Like, I mean, like it's not like not factual, but if you truly buy in, trust the process, and just go through the motions, you will sell cars. If like sometimes when you try to do too much, it's like in football or sports. When you see a guy trying to do too much, like, dude, there's a whole team around you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like just if you treat it like a team sport, so to say, I think it does help you. I mean, yes, there's individual abilities and stuff, but I used all the tools. I used our desk guys. I used all those. I used I used them fully, and,
So you went from selling cars at a relatively elite level. I mean, you made six figures hawking Kias back in 2010, 2011, right? In your first year in the car business, you're 21 years old. And you and I were just spitballing back and forth, telling jokes, and all of a sudden you realized you were a funny guy and you were pretty good at it. So you decided to leap head first into professional comedy. And you never look back, to be fair. I mean, you've been successful at it. So is there any correlation between like putting on a performance for a customer and selling a car versus standing up on a stage, grabbing a mic, and putting on a performance for a crowd?
I mean, 100%. That's actually a good question. Like, it comes down to just so simple things. Preparation, I would say. Like, if you're a comic, you gotta work you have to, like I would say this, working the bits, knowing the finding the angles of like, "Hey, man, I gotta take this word out, do the" put without boring everyone of some of the details of and intricacies of comedy. It's similar to, like, I would put that as like product knowledge. Being
Okay.
prepared, okay? So knowing my bits, having them all knowing what I'm going to say that night, having a set list, knowing which bits go in and out of each other. It's like there's not a lot of guessing up there for me. Like, I also will give myself in a set list like certain outs. Okay, if they're not liking this kind of material, at this point I can pivot to this kind of stuff, and so that stuff I'll know. Again, by being prepared and knowing my bits and knowing where I would relating it to product knowledge, I think helps a lot. Like when I was selling cars, like dude, when someone if someone asks you a question you don't know it, of course you could say, "Hey, that's a great question. Let me go find out." But like you don't wanna not know a lot of stuff. You say when you're trying to sell someone something and they have questions, you're like, "I don't know," or "I gotta go ask." Like,
You don't want to bullshit them, but you also don't
of
want to not
course,
know
but they
anything.
immediately they would immediately lose faith in you as a salesperson.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're kind of like when you're selling them the car, like, you're their guy. You're their liaison between, like, the dealership and them. You know what I'm saying? You're like their so,
You're the
yeah,
plug.
you have to trust there. But, yeah, I would say with both preparation and then a sale in a way is a performance
Absolutely.
in the respect that, like, if I'm doing a set, like, I'm literally getting on a plane 3 hours after this, flying to Grand Rapids. I'm doing a small theater tomorrow. But, like, if you're doing, like, your act, you'll do a lot of the same jokes, repetition, of course. Same thing with, like, sales. Like, you'll realize you have, like, certain lines, certain
Yeah.
selling points that will come up in every sale. So, yeah, I mean, once those again, it's repetition. Once those become more polished and you get those down a little bit more, sale becomes easier. And there are definitely a lot of differences too. But I mean, and you're on when you're selling a car, you're kind of like
No,
you gotta
I completely agree. I've always told people, I once I once heard somebody say, "Hey, when you sell a car, you're an actor. You gotta act." And I always actually said kind of the opposite. I said, "No." I said, "My mentality is that actors are liars, right? An actor is literally lying as a profession, like they're pretending to be something that they're not. You don't have to pretend."
a car salesman would never lie. We know that.
Kind of my point though, right? Like you don't want to be a liar, you don't want to be deceiving or deceptive. You want to be a performer, right? You want to put on a show. You don't necessarily want to be a liar or an actor. You want to be authentic and be genuine, but be
I
a performer,
think
be on.
So I'll tell you, and you couldn't be more right. And to link it to comedy again, when you're on stage, we call it being plugged in, or I do at least. Like if the audience, well, if the audience likes you, you can literally feel it. Like if they like you, they will let you get away with more things. You could push the envelope on some edgier stuff, or just even like your basic jokes. They will just laugh more if they like you. If they don't like you, it's a really hard time to push that to make them laugh. You know what I'm saying? So right off bat, it's building rapport. Now, the way that you can build, I've always said this, the way you build likability in comedy, at least, is you build likability through vulnerability. If they, I'm not up there trying to be like, hey, it's like, if I'm being vulnerable and I'm being myself and I'm being real, I think it takes all the guards down. Everyone's like, all right, we like this guy. This guy's just a dude like us. Let's hear what he's got to say. You can empathize with me more, relate with me more, things like that. Very similar with car sales. If the person likes you, listen, especially nowadays, all these cars are great. They're all good cars.
Yeah,
They all have competitive deals, you
it's
know,
it's
and
absolutely right.
that's from brand to brand, but also you're competing with how many dealers have the same car as you in the same area. So it's the oldest thing in the book, but they're buying the salesman. They're not buying the car. So they have
That's
to like
absolutely
you.
right.
And like you said, how do you build likability? It's through a little bit of that vulnerability. Don't under all these if you're a young salesman and you think you're hot stuff and you're watching this, don't underestimate people's bullshit meter. Like people can smell it, dude. I used to think like I'm a hot shot. I'm selling cars. I know more. Dude, a lot of especially as a young guy, I got home. I was a 22-year-old kid. And I'm trying to like school this 60-year-old man. You know how much more life he's lived? You know how much more things like you can't go in there thinking like I'm gonna put the pants on this guy, especially if you're a young kid, dude. You gotta be they have to like you. And like you said, if you people will smell that, they'll sense that, they'll get it, and they're more comfortable buying a car. It's a long process. It's a 3 hours. Sometimes you spend a whole weekend buying a car from this guy. They gotta like you. They have to like you.
So, for somebody who pivoted out of the car business, which it's funny, it's unusual because usually you see people like go off and live their hopes and dreams first. Like, the
Well,
the guy the guy that made it to the NFL for like a season and then like doesn't make the practice squad the next year and doesn't know what he's going to do with his life, right? That guy, you
yes.
see that guy end up in the car business all the time. And to be fair, a lot of the time you see him have great success because he knows what hard work is. He knows the work ethic that goes into the
It's
preparation, all
also
that stuff.
it's also got the celebrity name. It doesn't hurt.
Sure, yeah, he's got like the ACC championship ring.
Sure. Score a
So
touchdown at
yeah, no,
Marino Ford.
this guy was the backup fullback for Idaho State. He doesn't have any
Sure.
accolades. But regardless, usually you see it the other way around, right? Like, and somebody falls into the car business and then they just never leave because they're successful at it and they don't understand until they get into it, just how many benefits there are to it and how lucrative it can be. You, on the other hand, did the exact opposite, right? Like you found the car business young and early, and you immediately tasted success, made some money. Like again, I can't stress enough like the context of like six figures these days is not what it used to be, right? But in 2011, selling a Kia, like if you were selling, and we didn't even sell used cars. Like we had a used car department, but we were not in it. Like we were in the new car Kia department in 2011, and you're making six figures. That's a really big deal at that time, doing that particular job with that particular brand. So, my question to you is how does it feel to go the other way around, right? To go out of the car business and, oh, Matt's gone. Fuck.
Can you
Hey,
hear
look
me?
who it is.
Yeah. Sorry. It's like storming out like crazy.
Really?
Yeah, the power surged out. Oh, I lost my little effect.
Hey, you lost your background.
Yeah, now we're just in my loft.
All right, hang on. Let me see. Oh, all right. I think I got my. Did you just lose your light? Interesting turn of events here.
Okay. We are officially back. The Wi-Fi's back
Oh,
on.
look who it is.
Okay. Sorry.
Hang on.
Texas, man.
Are we? I don't think we're recording anymore, are we? Yeah, we are.
I think it is. Yeah. Texas has wild sorry about all that. But yeah, we're back on. All right. What were we
It's
talking
actually
about?
about the time, just so you know, it's about the time in the day where Southwest Florida 100% gets dumped on.
Mm-hmm. I know it. It's usually from
So,
like three to five,
yeah, yep,
the
yeah.
rainy time.
Anyway,
Uh, you look fantastic.
but you look great.
You're so money you don't even know
You now get to see the home of the famous Matthew Bellak,
it. This is my
the
upstairs
real one.
loft. I got some of my cool concert posters in the back there. That's a Foo
This
Fighters
guy's got a
poster.
this guy's got a loft.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Fancy
Yeah.
schmancy.
Yeah.
We were talking about here, we'll get back on track. I was talking about how, you kind of went the exact opposite way the car business usually goes, right?
Right.
Like you went from like getting in really young and being really successful right away to deciding to completely pivot, leave the business and follow your dreams instead of like usually it's the other way around. So, and you never look back. You never look back. First question, any regrets? Do you have any big moments from A, the car business, and B, from comedy that you like will not forget, right? Like was there ever a big moment selling cars or a big deal that you'll never forget where you're like, this was like a big deal to me, or it doesn't have to be like a big gross deal. I mean, just like something that like is very memorable. And then same thing in comedy.
Yeah, a couple. So with the regrets thing, to answer that, there are times it's not it's weird. Regret's a tough word because like I wouldn't change it. I mean I love comedy and I still love comedy and I like but like I can as an adult now I can see I guess not because I had a lot of fun in my 20s and stuff. But like it is a little different now because I'm still in this grinding phase in comedy whereas now at 36 years old I'm like, well, had I gone a different route I'd be, a little more set up, I think, in my life, a little more established now, especially now that, married and trying to do the kid thing. I'm like, it would be nice to not have to try to be, like I said, I'm going
Get
literally 2
get on a
hours from now.
plane to Grand Rapids.
Jumping on a plane to go to Grand Rapids. Yeah, so, my wife's off today. We could have been hanging out, but,
Listen, hats off to everybody in Grand Rapids. We love it. It's a great town.
it's great. No, and this theater's gonna be awesome, and they actually they're paying nice. But there's just the only regret would be just a little more like stability. Comedy's not a very stable lifestyle, but the
Interesting.
fun
Only interesting because most people think the car business is not stable at all. you know,
it's very very
it's like
stable.
it's actually probably the most volatile industry in the United
Well,
States,
well,
arguably.
sure, but it's a stable life. I mean, if you're good in the business, I mean, buddy, how many down markets have you seen in your 14 years of doing cars? Whatever.
Countless,
You're always eating, aren't
buddy.
you? You're always fine. I mean, good. When
Matt,
you say, yeah,
17 years now.
is it 17?
Since I was 19.
So in 17 years, you've gone through the car business is over. And you're fine. So like, uh,
This guy's
even
doing great.
right, but even though it's volatile, it's still if you stay in it and you're consistent, it's a steady life. You're always gonna have paychecks coming. Whereas comedy, it's like you're constantly looking for your next booking, and listen, obviously, you get to a point in comedy, it all gets very stable if you can get there. You owe the money, but like the your average working comic versus your average working salesman, I'd say it's a lot more volatile on the comedy side. Yeah, so I don't know about regrets, but there is some just like I'm like, I wish it was a little
What
more
ifs? Yeah.
correct. Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't change anything. I mean, I wouldn't go back and change it. I love comedy. And some of the things I've gotten to do is insane. The traveling I've gotten to do, things I've gotten to see, but
Well,
big moments.
that's
Yeah.
the next question, right? Like, what is the big moment on the stage that you have, for instance, that you can look at and be like, I'm super proud of that. Like that was a big deal, and this was worth leaving that for, right?
So I would just say when I started working, I don't know if there's one big moment. Maybe one of my first weekends of doing the improv when I started to actually do professional comedy. That was pretty cool. Honestly, you were there for one of my favorite moments, and it was recently when I did Naples, Florida. Was the first time that I solo headlined a club, like an A club. I had done some like off because I've done every A club in the country co-headlining with Tim, this guy I do a tour with, but it's co-headlining. We both do about 35-minute sets. Um, and I've solo headlined a bunch of like what they call B rooms, smaller marketplaces, or smaller rooms. But Off the Hook in Naples, that's an A club. They get every big name in the world to go in there, and so that was the first time I solo headlined like an A club. That was really cool. And you were there for that one. It was a fun show. I think tomorrow is the first time I'm solo headlining a theater. It's a theater in Holland, Michigan, just outside of Grand Rapids, and it's Friday night. Should be pretty packed, and
How many seats?
I think.
That's pretty big.
What Yeah, it wouldn't be the biggest room I've done, but it's an old historic theater. It's like 100 years old, and it's just a beautiful building. So I'm excited for that. That'll be pretty cool tomorrow night. But in the car
Interesting.
business, one One of my favorite car stories was the first car I ever.
By the way, that was not the answer I was expecting. I was expecting it to be like, you know, Kill Tony with Shane Gillis, or like, you know, the stories with Bert. But you're
Some
like,
of those, yeah. I mean,
yeah, my favorite moment doing the 8 Club in Naples, Florida last
well,
week.
those are my favorite. I'd say those are my favorite on-stage moments. I've done a lot of off-stage stuff that I can't say no microphone, but I think who watches it. But, um, yeah, I mean, the the car biz was fun too, and that's one thing I miss too. It is such a. I've worked in like different sales avenues, selling this, selling that, and all sales in and of itself can be fun. You get a little camaraderie, and there's downtime and all that stuff. But like the car business is, it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of BS. Just like anything, when you're making that kind of a check, there's gonna be BS and headaches. But like all in all, man, dollar for dollar, it's one of the most fun ways you can earn that kind of money. It's and every day, even though okay, every day I'm still selling cars. Every day is so different. It's so different every day you walk in the dealership. And it's fun that it's not monotonous. Like some jobs, if you're sitting at a desk doing sales or whatever, it's like the same day every day. Even though I could sell a Jeep Wrangler every day for 10 days straight, it'd be a different experience. It'd be a different day. It's I like that about it too.
It'd be a different Jeep. They're so damn different.
I know they're very customizable if anyone's watching.
You can order one from Cape Coral, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Cape Coral, Florida.
Absolutely, absolutely. Nobody goes home and goes, look at how I customize my Toyota Corolla. Nobody cares. Nobody shows off their Honda Civic to their friends. Nobody gives a crap. Get it cheap. There's no Volkswagen. There's no Volkswagen Wave. Well, kind of is.
Jesus.
Anyway, the Jeep Wave is better.
Yes, it is very good. Yeah,
It's very good. Oh my gosh. It was a fun. I remember I used to do my Peter Schreier impression. That was very fun.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Kia goes very fast.
It's so good. Yeah. I can't say all the things, but we one of my favorite moments selling cars was actually my first day that I ever sold a car. I didn't remember this story. It was a Sunday. I'll never forget it. First time I ever sold a car. I'm fresh out of training.
It was a Sunday,
It was a Sunday. I'll never forget.
so you didn't sell a car on your first day like me, huh?
No, I did. I did sell a
Oh,
car my
it's your
first day
first.
on
It
the
was your
floor.
first day. Oh, first
It
day
was
on the
my
floor.
first day on the floor. I had gone through like training, whatever, and then Sunday was my first day on the floor.
I love that for you. You got training.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
did
got
not.
trained. Yeah, you just
I
got
did
thrown to
not.
the wolves. Yeah. Oh, they trained me up. They made me fall. You remember it was a pretty quick week, but I was learning everything. Like, all right, so we uh we would open up. I believe it was like hours or every Sunday was 12 to 6. I don't know why, man. I was just so amped. I got there so early. I got there like 11 o'clock, and I thought I could get in the building and like relax and get all set up because I had my own office. That was the first day I had that was my own office and everything. So I wanted to get all set up.
Couldn't even get past the gate.
Couldn't get in the building. 11 o'clock, and no, I don't. I mean, this doesn't sound great, but literally like it's like 11:40 and there's nobody. The boss wasn't there. Ended up wasn't there to open the building. There's not a single other sales guy, and I'm just standing there on the pad, like the front, and this woman walks up, and she's just like looking at the Kia Soul, and she's like, starts asking me questions, and I literally don't know much. I mean, I'm like, yeah, I'm like she's asking me questions, and I'm just like looking at the window sticker. I'm like, yeah, gas mileage is 18, 18 city, 36 highway. That's pretty good, right? Like, I'm just like reading off the
That's
window sticker, selling her this car. But I'm just going with kind of what I naturally know. I'm like, isn't this fun? I don't know any car that looks like this. I'm just going off what I know. And so finally, manager comes in, opens it up, and I'm like, hey, this lady wants to check out a Soul. And it's just me and him. Dude, I don't think the next sales guy showed up till like 12:30. Everyone was like late that day. It was the weirdest experience. So I'm like, just me and him. I show her the car. She's got a Mini Cooper she wants to trade in. Long story short, she loves the car. We get the deal done. I sell a car. She's in the box. Dude, the dealership opens at noon. She's in the box at like 1 p.m., which is like crazy. Okay. Uh, and it was a good deal.
pretty efficient, by the way. There was a trade and everything, and you got her in the box by one.
It was, dude, I had, she says yes to the first pencil. First pencil to her. I go, so, because I don't know what I'm doing. So the manager goes, go in and tell her this. And I'm green, he writes down like a nice heavy deal for the dealership. I'm not going to lie. He goes, go show her this. And I go, yeah, this is what we're giving you for your car. This is what we're going to blah, blah, blah. And she just goes, all right, great. It was a deal that like, it's like, It never happens. It happened to me my
Yeah.
first one. So I'm like, guys, selling cars is the easiest thing in the world.
You wish it was like comedy where you had like tape of it so you could like
Oh
rewatch
my
it
gosh, dude.
and like
So
study the play. How did
dude,
I do
I
that?
yeah, so I throw in the box, get it done, and then around like 3 o'clock, a bone walks in, an old customer of our GM's, and it's at their discretion who to throw the bone to. And he was like, "Yo, this kid's his first day. He did great. He showed up early, sold a car, so he threw it to me. So my first day, I sold 2 cars, and
I love that.
yeah, it was. I literally went home, and I remember it being like my dad goes like, "How's your day?" I'm like, "That is the easiest. Any idiot can sell a car. It's easy." And then I don't think I sold a car for like 12 straight days after that. But it was like it was yeah, it was fun. That was one of my more fun ones. And then just some of the antics, man. Like we'd have fun. Like remember like that Jesus candle trick I used to do? It's so stupid, but I used to have fun. I used to have fun selling the cars. I
Listen,
really would.
you can't open that can of worms and not tell the people about the Jesus can.
So I forget how like the first one was a little weird. Like I remember I had this like
I remember the first one you actually went to the store
I
and
went to the
bought it
store. Yeah. So basically I had
during the
this
deal.
couple comes in and they don't have great credit and they're like they didn't want to buy that day. And I'm like, what if we can get you done? And we sent the application and the underwriters are looking at it and it was going to be like a 50-50. But it took some massaging with the underwriters. So the whole process was taking a while. I remember having them in my office and they're like ready to go. They're like, I just, you know, whatever, call me tomorrow, maybe, and I was like, guys, you don't understand. If we can get this deal done, it's gonna be literally a miracle. And there is no tomorrow. Like if this deal gets done, we don't I don't even know if underwriters could change their mind. I'm lying to them maybe, but I was like, we don't want them to change their minds. Okay. I'm like, if they say yes, we're getting these cars on the road the tires on the road immediately. Okay. And they're like, yes. And I'm like, hold on one second. Dude, there was a Publix grocery store right next to the
A
dealership.
mile
I
away.
go,
Yeah.
yeah, I go, sit tight, guys. I run out. I run to the employee. I literally run to the employee parking lot, get in my car. This little turd car. This is before I bought that
Oh, this was the Corsica, right?
Ranger, as I called her. But so I whip over to the Publix. I buy one of these like Jesus prayer candles, and because these people were like they were Hispanic and they were super religious, and I knew that as like getting to know them. So I run back. I'm maybe only gone for 15 minutes. They don't know where I go, and I come back in and I just put it on the desk and I go, guys, go say your prayers. I go because we're gonna get this done. I light the candle. I don't know. 15 minutes later, Albert walks in and he goes, Matt. He plays into it. He's like, we got it done. I can't believe it. He goes, let's get this paperwork done before they change their mind. And I'm like, guys, I go, here we go. Let's do it. And they're like, yeah, I blow the candle. I go, poof, I blow it out, slap the deal down on the desk. They signed it in the box. But then I kept it in my drawer and I would break that thing out as like a bit and it would work though. I'd be like,
You
anytime I
know,
had to get me done.
bro, it's a that's a ballsy move, by the way. Like that's like that joke that like you don't know how it's gonna
Could have
go.
offended them.
Right,
Absolutely.
exactly. That's that bit where like it could have wildly been offensive.
In
Or
hindsight, a
or
little
they
bit, a
or they
little.
laugh hysterically. Like,
But I mean, in hindsight, it was a little. I didn't mean it in any bad way. I was just trying to
no.
lighten the mood and stuff.
And to be
But in a
to be
way,
fair, it worked, right? Which means
yeah,
that you obviously read the room, you know?
yeah, they were cool. I knew it. Yeah, I was like, I mean, dude, there was a million, millions, but I would pick it out. It was people would have fun with it. I'd be like, well, anytime we had to get me done, and I'd be like, we were waiting to get it. I'm like, I don't know, we're gonna wait to hear back. I'd pull it out of my desk and I'd slap it down. I'd have them light it. I'd be like, you guys light it, say a prayer. They would laugh. It would just diffuse everything, and then I don't know because sometimes you know what, like I don't know. I guess you could take it offensive because like sometimes it's a little embarrassing the whole
Dude,
get me done
yeah,
process, and I
but
would bring a little levity
clearly
to
you
it, I
have
think.
the clearly you didn't have the best credit in the world at that time either. So
No,
that
no,
might
no, no,
have
no.
that might have helped alleviate their concerns with
Oh
offensiveness.
my yeah, no,
You're like you think your credit score is bad. Look at this.
I kept dude, I tell you this, just to so I kept my Chevy Corsica key and pictures of it years after I got rid of it, dude. And
Yeah,
just because anytime
because it was stolen.
well, yeah, yeah. No, but I'm saying I held on to the spare key because people would like I already had by then I got a car through dealership, nice push start, but like people would come in and sometimes anytime people would feel like embarrassed, they'd be like, because they would just go praise their car and they're like, oh, it's a mess, it sucks. I would just slap the Corsica. I'm like, I drive a fucking Chevy Corsica, guys. I'm like, well, it's me, it's Maddie, baby. Come on, I don't care. Like, and it would put them at ease a little bit, like
For sure. Well,
Yeah.
that was, like, your first test of, like, being on stage, I feel like, you know, like you said like we said before, you became a performer kinda before you actually stepped up on stage.
Selling cars, man. I mean, it's the thinking on the fly correlates so much with comedy. So sometimes people will yell things out, and you have to be quick. You have to be playfully disarming, is what I say. You know, you don't want to a heckler. You don't want to offend them. Some comics just go crazy, and they're like, "Ah, f your mother." I'm like, I call it playfully disarming them. You know, you kind of shut them down, but in a fun, joking, comfortable way. And I learned that probably the most from the car business. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, just because people come
Learning
in,
how to get somebody to put their guard down
man, people
is
my
definitely a
le
skill.
I the thing I hated the most is when people would bring their friend, the expert, you know? "And my neighbor used to sell cars. I'm bringing him with me. He's gonna be," and then this
Yeah.
guy was just a prick on wheels, you know? He's
Third
there
base
just
coach.
to be right, and it's just like so those would be the worst, but I've found ways to, like, kinda, like to me, that guy was like a heckler. I'm trying to do my deal, and that guy'd be like, "Nope, that's not good." And then I would just find ways to like playfully disarm him. Like I remember one time, literally, I had a guy, and he was like doing that kind of thing. Where, and I'd just be like, "Hey, why don't you go buy a car from this guy? Do you got what kind of cars you got on your lot?" You know, and I just kind of like ask him like that, like not in a mean way. No, and he's like, "What?" I go, "Oh, you don't sell cars?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Well, then just pipe down a little bit. Like we're trying to talk over here." And again, I make jokes now, but like I truly was almost incapable of being, like, rude to people.
You still are.
There's no need for it. Yeah, there's no need
Yeah,
for it. You don't
yeah.
you know, you get more the other way, but yeah, kind of playfully, I'd be like just like things like just silly lines. Some guy would be like, "Well, I gotta go ask my wife." I'm like, "Well, should I call my wife and see if I can sell it to you?" Or like, I think we're just silly things like that, and it sounds rude, but, like, I don't know.
It's funny
I'm
because
not
you're like you're breaking out, like, every, like, cliche TikTok there is right now.
yeah, I
Like,
mean,
that's
this was in 2010. This is before, I guess, TikTok
oh,
and
no
stuff, but
dude, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
yeah.
Same old excuses. I mean, the only thing that's changed it really is the technology, you know? It's like, "Oh, I gotta call my wife. Oh, here's my phone. You can call her right now. Oh, no, I gotta show it to her. Great, we have FaceTime. Let's get her on the line." There's different ways now to try and overcome it, but, you know, you're still d you know, treading lightly. Um, question for you, you know, knowing kinda what I just said as far as, like, car business hasn't changed. It's the same old business. Things about the business or things in the business change, but the business itself is really the same. You know, you obviously have a lot of fun doing it, and you have a lot of fun doing what you do now, even though, you know, people think it's not really a job, and, you know, I'm one of them, but, you know no, I'm kidding, you know, you work really hard at it, but, what was your least favorite thing about the car business? Like, if you could look back and think about your time working in the car business and there was something about the industry that you could change, you know, that really, like, kinda took you out of it or kind of gut punched you, like, what was it?
I think maybe the main thing would be, and I think this is something just, being your friend and talking to you over the years, I think has changed is like just some of the MFing, so to say. Like when I started, dude, like they would really get in your ass. Like the way they would talk to you,
Yeah.
and I just don't even know if that's the most effective motivator. I think we've learned
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. The thick
that
skin,
that
you know, it helped me, but at the same time, yeah, it
I mean,
has
dude,
changed. You can't rip people like that anymore.
we've been friends for 20 years. Like you're not going to hurt my feelings. It just wasn't you weren't gonna get the most out of me that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't give a shit what you say, but like, that's not gonna make me I mean, let me ask you, how do you motivate your team? I mean, you've been in the boss role now for a long time. How do you find what do you find is the most effective motivator?
Personally, I think that it's being human, like what you're saying, but being relatable, being approachable, and making the team part of the conversation instead of being a dictator. You know, those are things that work for me and always
Yeah,
have. I'm an ideas guy, like, and they don't have to be mine. Or they can be anyone's. And so, yeah, involving everyone in the process of what's happening, listening more than you talk. Don't just go around barking orders at people. Put yourself in their shoes and try and see things from every perspective because at the end of the day, I don't forget where I came from. You know, like I'm a high school dropout that came from nothing and I made my way here one step at a time. So I've pretty much been in all the shoes under the roof and I can put myself in all of their positions. I just try to remember that and stay humble, stay within myself, and just remember, where they're coming from and what my actions are going to do or the effect my words will have on them.
Yeah, I think like an attaboy, so to say, goes a lot further than like
Yeah.
you suck.
Well, and I think I learned this relatively quickly in management, but like for me, you give the attaboys when they're deserved, right? And you talk to people like they're human. And then when the moment comes where you have to put the hammer down, right? Because sometimes you have people that will take advantage of that and, kind of push your buttons or push your limits. And so when that moment comes where you have to put that hammer down, you have the respect, right? Like it's not Josh is yelling at me again, one in one ear and out the other. It's, oh shit, Josh is yelling at me. This guy never yells at me. So I better
Correct.
listen, you know?
Yeah. Well, wouldn't you say too? Like I always said this too. Like you don't need to be that guy. It starts with the hiring process. If you hire a self motivated guy, I don't think you need to do too much of that. Like on
Yeah,
your back. Like the I think you want people in your dealership where like their own pocket, like the money and pride of selling cars should be their own motivator. I mean like it was for me. Like I didn't like we had a lot of friends and stuff in the dealership, and especially like I had what I mean I had a blast with all those guys. But at the end of the day, like I went there to make money. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, that's
yeah,
why I was like, I like hanging out. We can go hang out and get some wings and watch football. We don't need to be here to chill. Like, there was a lot of that. I mean, we all know a couple of those guys in our, there was, that were more involved, like the hang. Every Saturday, it's like lunch would take
yeah.
3 hours. It's like, dude, we're here to sell some cars. Yeah, it has to be fun and you got little breaks and all that stuff. But do you find, do you find like in your, do you have a lot of those guys who are just like there to like socialize instead of sell?
You know, those guys tend to come and go pretty quickly.
True. That's true.
In my store now, it's something that we're trying to get better at as far as, weeding those imposters out before they get hired, but I would say like the half the sales staff, for instance, is like solid, strong professionals that are in it, that are career minded, that, have been here for years and are pretty consistent. And then the other half is the revolving door. So I hate that it's the other half and not the other fourth or, just a couple. That's the part that's frustrating,
The thing
you
is
know?
it those guys can be not to be like a negative guy about this, but like those guys can really be a strain on a dealership because if one guy, the guy's not motivated, he's there to kind of socialize and he wants to kick in. Oh, check out this YouTube video. Oh, let's talk about lunch 2 hours. Those kind of guys. You're not going to do it by yourself. You don't sit in your own office and f off. You bring people in. Hey, dude, come over to
Yeah.
come watch this with me. Bro. Let's go have
Coffee
10
club.
cigarette breaks together. Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
you got to get those guys aren't good because they bring other people into that suck. And it yeah can't be
Yep.
there for that.
Well,
I
and
remember
it's funny.
telling
I have a line that I'll like randomly throw out. If I'm like, let's say it's Saturday, I'm running the desk and, there's like a group of guys at the desk in the corner just kind of doing what you're talking, like the little coffee club, just, talking about nothing. And it's a Saturday, right? Like it's 2 o'clock on a Saturday. There's 17 people in the showroom right now. And you guys are like just kind of like effing off over here at the desk. I'll just like kind of turn and look at them and just be like, objection, relevance. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are you talking about? What does this have to do with selling
right,
cars right now? We're all
right.
here selling cars, and you guys are sitting here like BSing about like the TikTok that you just like. Stop it, you know. And immediately, like, like you got to break that up. Yeah, you got to get rid of that. You got to weed that out. And unfortunately, it's hard to it's harder to do than we'd like it to be, and it's easier said than done. You know that.
I like that
There's
though.
always
That's
going
a
to be
fun.
that group.
Yeah, but I like that. What you do is like kind of a fun way to tell everyone to get back to work without saying "get back to work." Like
Oh yeah. It's
yeah,
dude,
it's
it's
fun.
it's like and I'll do it like in that way where I'm like objection. And they look at me and they're like, huh? And I go, relevance. Like, what's going on?
I think, like I said, circling back to what we had said, I think all in all, it is one of the most fun businesses where you can make that kind of money. You're not a banker. You're not like it's not a stuffy situation at least.
You always got the newest model coming out, or you always got the new
Mm,
incentive, the new deal you can call your friends on. And there's
love
always
a new
something.
model. Well, let me ask you a question. Put it on you,
Give it
Big
to me.
Papa.
Let's go, Maverick.
Does everyone in your world know that you have done comedy before? It was just the 2 times that I can recall, I believe, or was it more?
Eh, It was just the two. The first one went pretty well. Second one absolutely bombed. I was a little tipsy and
Mhm.
didn't really remember my punchlines or my set. I just kind
I
of
remember
I don't remember what.
one
To
of
be
the
honest.
punchlines wasn't one of the punchlines Medea does her taxes.
That was the bit.
Yeah.
That was the bit. It was back when Tyler Perry was coming out with a new movie like every 4 months, and I was like, "What's the next one going to be? Medea does her taxes? Like we're running
I
out of
loved
shit."
it. Well, let me ask you this, and we've kinda touched on this a little bit, but okay. Uh, so, like, you laughter during the sales process, do you think that's important? Is that something you when you're training a guy, do you try to teach them to put a lot of personality on it? I think a guy, if he's
So
too robotic.
let me tell you, man, I think that's really hard to train. It's
Okay.
is it really easy to pick a guy off the street and go, "Hey, you're going to stand on stage and do some jokes right now"? No, right? You either have it or you don't. You know, every salesperson is different. And you got to train them to their strengths.
Let me ask you this. Who is your funniest salesman?
Ooh,
And they're gonna
that's a
watch
great
this.
question. I got a couple. I got a few.
Okay.
I would say Lewis is very funny. Johnny's very funny. Albert's very funny. So I got some funny guys. And if you
Alright.
actually if you watch our TikTok, you'll see some of these guys are pretty consistently in our videos.
I do keep an eye on it. I like the Office, like the Office spoof going on. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna keep going with that. It's not getting like a ton of views per se from like the TikToking community, but it's getting quite a bit of like traction locally,
Yeah,
and
if I
that's what matters.
give you any social media advice, just keep posting. Um, there is building any page, there's a long period of, just posting videos that aren't getting seen. They call it the cringe period, so to say. You're just posting and no one's looking at it, blah, blah, blah. But then the algorithms they just pick up on consistency. So just keep posting, keep posting, keep posting, keep posting, and then it'll start one day it'll just start, oh shit, everyone's watching this now.
It'll stop ticking, and then one day it'll talk.
It'll talk, baby. It will talk. Yeah, they call it Instagram, but it takes a while. It does take a while. It's not instant.
Matt Bellak on the Dealership Leader podcast. Matt, one of my oldest friends in the world, buddy. Congratulations on all of your success. Listen, you're not going to be selling any cars anytime soon, so tell the people where they can see you, where they can hear you, other than Grand Rapids.
Yeah, all social medias, just Matt Bellak, MattBellak, or go to mattbellick.com for all things Matt Bellak, tour dates and stuff. But yeah, just easiest way, social medias, man. Instagram, TikTok, all that. Just Matt Bellak, MattBellak.
YouTube's a pretty good one. Hey, people can see you on OnlyFans,
YouTube, I got that. Yeah, I do have an OnlyFans.
not in the
Something
way
to
that they
think.
think, not in the dirty way.
I'm thinking about showing some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 15 minutes of comedy and 15 hours of other shit. Matt Bellak, everybody,
Yes. MB.
buddy.
And it's a that was a blast talking to you. I would love to do like a part two. What I would like to do is get my butt to Cape Coral and do an in studio with you.
Dude, let's
Um,
do a part two here in the store.
part two. Got to run it back. But yeah, man, it's always a pleasure talking to you, buddy. I will obviously talk to you soon. And love you. Take it easy.
If you got value from today's episode, follow the show, leave a quick review, and share it with someone in the business who needs to hear it. For more clips, behind the scenes, and leadership content, follow me on LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram at Dealership Leader. I'm Joshua Clinton, and whether you're selling cars, leading a team, or building a dealership, just remember, lead from the front, keep getting better. See you next time.